The championship of the Grand Trucking Cup is brought to you by the Hyundai Sonata and is presented for Seafair by Grand Trucking, specializing in heavy intermodal container drayage throughout Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana.
And once again, those fast little bugs on the water are about to take some of the great laps that you'll see in Seafair racing. And here is the voice for the finals of the Grand Trucking Cup, Steve Michael.
Thank you very much, Steve. It's great to be here. This is the fifth and final round of this U.S. Formula One Powerboat Racing Tour Championship. Today, we will determine a champion, whether it'll be Terry Rinker winning his 7th national championship or Tim Seibold, who is in that 3rd spot fighting for his 6th. We'll have to wait and see. So Rinker's on the pole, less than 30 seconds to go. Drivers now focusing in on the official start. We're going 10 laps on this 1.25 mile, 2-kilometer, 6-pin course. We hold our breath. The flag's up any second now. This is for the North American Championship of 2013. We wait and see as the drivers now anticipating the start. With the man and the flag drops it, and we're underway. And they take off from the dock as they accelerate quickly, 0 to 100 miles an hour, close to 10,000 horsepower as they fan on out, heading out 2,400 feet down toward turn number 5. Will it be Terry Rinker holding on to that margin? It looks like Tim Seibold has jettisoned himself into that number 1 spot. Tim Seibold needs to win here. It's simple as that. He's got to hope that Terry Rinker drops below the 5th position for him to have any chance in winning, and he's pulling away, coming down the front straightaway as we start to count the first of 10 laps. And I'll tell you something, Chip. Tim Seibold rocketed away from his 3rd starting position. He grabbed the lead. He looks like a man determined to win this race and control his own destiny and a chance to win this championship.
That looks like the most dominant start that we saw anybody get off the dock all weekend. But we've seen it time and time again. Both Rinkers can come from behind.
We started running heats 36 hours ago, and it's all down to this with Tim Seibold knowing as you take a look at the starting field, 14 different drivers, 2 different countries, and yes, from 6 different states. And right now, the man from Missouri out in the lead in a boat that he built himself. This Seibold family has 3 generations of tradition. Grandpa Seibold started racing on the Missouri River back in the 1930s. And for Tim Seibold, with the first lap gone and 9 remaining, he is an 18-year racing veteran. Remember, Chip, the top 3 starters today, they've earned that position off the dock, combined have 74 years of racing experience.
It's amazing how much of a lead that he's got with just 2 laps down. But I guess it's getting off the dock is so critical because we've seen both Rinker boats able to reel him in. But look at that lead after just 2 laps. Looks like they've got something really good for this final.
Tim beat him off to start. Terry Rinker got a little bit of drift. He had his son come up, actually, and he had to dodge away his younger rookie son, Rob, in that number 30 machine. But this man in the number 16 machine turns that boat on a dime, flies it down the front straightaway. And for Tim Seibold, yes, this driver who is searching, he's a 33-year racing veteran. He finished 8th in the first round. That really is what put him behind the 8 ball in the first race of the year in Missouri. Then in LaPorte, he finished 2nd outside of Chicago. He's won the last 2 in a trot. He needs to make it 3 in a row for him to have any shot at this championship today. But we'll keep an eye on not only him, but the man behind him, Terry Rinker. Something drastic has to happen to this man right here from Tampa, Florida.
You know, these beautiful shots we're getting really shows like that shot right there. Look how little drag is on these boats. 250 horsepower. You can see the propeller in the lower unit between the boat. It's just the smallest, tiny bit of spots in the water, just like a leaf in the wind.
These boats are made to fly off the water. The whole idea here with this catamaran, so he comes out of the corner. Look at him fly that boat, getting it out of the water. Get the drag away. You can see just that last foot of the water touching the boat in the water. There were 3 laps gone, and yes, 7 remaining as Tim Seibold continues to work his way around this serpentine course. It's not easy. Right here is the turn number 2, the right-hander. They struggle through there. You can see the boats are a bit offset. set. They're made to go around left-hand turns. No problem there in turns number 3 and 4 as they slide out. Now they head down the long straightaway, and now you can see he's coming up on some back markers. This could be in play. Maybe Terry Rinker can close the gap a little bit more and then have a shot at taking the overall win.
It looks like that's what it's going to take. It looks like Tim Sebold's going to have one of the lappers get in his way, do something unexpected to give Terry a chance to get up next to him.
Tim Sebold, who's raced in Liuzhou in China a couple of years ago on a world tour. He's won races in Mount Fuji in Japan. He has raced all over the world. He knows what it takes to come up with a victory. With 4 laps gone, just 6 remaining. He's doing his job. He's winning this race. Now he can only cross his fingers and toes, and hopefully the man behind him, Terry Rinker, starts to disappear. But right now it's going to be very tough on a man like Terry Rinker because he has not dropped out of many races in the last 5 years. For Tim Sebold, he is the winningest driver in this sport, and he is now in race number 126. Over the history of this 4-generation ship, this is race number 184. And I'll tell you something, this Sebold family with brother Mike and father Bill have won almost 50% of these races.
You know, it's interesting. We've seen other boats this weekend out in front. One of them actually blew over backwards. Another one spun out. But they don't have the experience that a Tim Sebold has. With him in the lead, it's pretty hard to imagine someone with Tim's experience making a mistake like that.
Halfway home in this 10-lap race, 5 laps in the record books. And yes, you see the leader, Tim Sebold. Terry Rinker, second place. We haven't mentioned the man in third, which is Chris Fairchild, who's out of Paw, Illinois, driving a Mercury racing machine. He won a couple of heat races yesterday. Great panoramic shot. We go upstairs with a helicopter. You get a chance to see what it looks like over on the east side of this race course, and there's the long straightaway going all the way about 2,400 feet down into turn number 5, and this is a really tricky course. It's not straight, is it, Chip?
No, it's not, and as you said earlier, these boats are really set up for more left-hand turns than right-hand turns. They still get in trouble turning right because the boats are offset with the weight on one side. So right turns are still a little trickier than left turns. Tim Sebold seems to really have this in hand right now.
Just 4 laps left to go, and the thing is now, Tim Sebold's going to have to be very careful when he comes up on some slower back markers as he works his way through this traffic. At the same time, Terry Rinker may be a little bit more aggressive, and there you see Tim Sebold as he starts to close up. Now look at him go way wide. You can see that you don't want to follow the boat right behind you because there's a lot of aeration stirring up in the water, and what happens with a propeller is you lose the bite. You don't get the water, you get the aeration, so you got to stay on one side or the other. You know that very well.
Well, much like a tire hitting a piece of ice, it just doesn't get the traction, it doesn't get the bite, and you can see he's dealing with other people's weights there. That can only help Terry Rinker if Tim has troubles in that weight.
Tim Sebold now with just 3 laps to go, trying to work his way around Carlos Mendana, the driver out of Miami, the rookie who won heat number 6 a while ago, 2 hours ago, but we're focusing in on this. This is determining the national championship this afternoon. 105 points separated Tim Sebold from the man behind him, Terry Rinker. It sounds like a lot of points, but it is not. And there's the man he's chasing. Terry Rinker kind of keeping an eye on the situation, in radio contact with his crew. He knows what he needs to do to stay out of trouble and keep the boat going home. He knows he can't finish below 5th place. And for Tim Sebold, he's just praying that something happens to that Amsoil boat. But right now, it's right on rails, and you can see the difference between Tim Sebold and here comes Terry Rinker right there in that yellow machine.
It's really interesting. Tim's weekend has really been up and down. He's been either really dominant in the heat or he's really struggled. And he's gone back and forth between 2 different engine manufacturers, OMC Evinrude and that's Mercury engine. It seems like when he runs the Mercury engine, he seems to have better luck.
Tim Sebold now with less than a lap and a half remaining. Get the job done. This is a short final, just 10 laps around. Normally we'll run as many as 30 laps in a final, but today we're seeing a sprint race of sorts. So it's really helping out Terry Rinker, knowing it's not going to be a marathon run. And look at Tim Sebold slice and dice his way through some of the slower traffic. He's a magician at that as he rockets down the back straightaway, but he's got to be careful here. He's got a boat on the outside. You can't see it through the plumage of water as he fights his way around boat number 69. As he gets past the driver, Mike Maskell, out of Vancouver, he laps him. And as he comes by, just 1 more lap to go. Tim Sebold now looking for win number 32. The white flag is out as he circles through turn number 1. The spectators hanging on to every move, loving this race here on Lake Washington. Seabold accelerates quickly down into the complex in turns number 3 and 4. Slides on out and now kicks it down the back straightaway, reaching speeds of 130 miles an hour. He's got to be crossing his fingers, hoping that the man behind him has some kind of tragedy here.
You know, 130 miles an hour might not sound as fast as 190 in the Unlimited, but remember that big Unlimited is like 30 feet long and weighs 6,000 pounds. This boat is much smaller, much lighter.
Terry Rinker following up, keeping an eye on him, knowing all he has to do is circle 2 more pins and he'll become the champion. The checkered flag comes out. Tim Seabold comes across and wins the race here this afternoon here in Seattle. Wins his 32nd career victory, and at the same time, right behind him, 2 places, Terry Rinker. There he is, coming home in 2nd place, captures, yes, his 7th national championship as Tim Seabold wins 3 of the 5 races this year. But this man, Terry Rinker, is your champion for the 7th time in his North American career and his 18th start in Formula 1.
Look at how excited Tim Seabold is. He was born and bred to be a race driver. His father, Bill Seabold, a huge idol of mine. I think he's one of the best boat racers that's ever been on the planet. Mike started racing boats when he was a little kid. It's just in his genes.
A lot of respect for these 2 drivers in these 2 camps. As yes, Terry Rinker now knowing that he has picked up his championship, just cruising around. He's got to be happy. It was a steady season. Remember, he set the all-time record about 6 years ago, winning 7 in a row. He won every race in the season. He didn't do that in 2013. It doesn't matter. He won when it counted and stayed right up in the top 3 to capture the championship.
Now, Steve, will any of these drivers that we've seen today go on to the Middle East or Europe for the rest of the year, or do these guys stay here in North America?
This is the North American Tour. It ends right now, and the World's Tour will continue on until 2 weeks before Christmas. Maybe Tim Seabold will be jumping into a boat, maybe in Abu Dhabi and in Dubai and possibly China. I know Terry Rinker is working very hard to get the sponsorship to carry it through to the end of the World Tour. We'll just have to wait and see. These 2 guys dominate North America, but I think they also want to make a statement on the World Tour.
And the 2 drivers, let's focus on Tim Seabold and Terry Rinker. Are they of the quality that they can compete on a world level, or are we a step behind the world drivers?
Terry Rinker last year stepped into the best boat possible in the Qatar team, and he finished 2nd. He made it to the podium in the 2nd time. A fantastic day of racing here on Lake Washington for Formula 1.
Oh, it was indeed. Here are the results of the finals of the Graham Trucking Cup. There they are. NGK spark plugs with Tim Seabold at the controls, Terry Rinker in 2nd place in the Amsoil boat. What a day of racing it's been. Those are your results, the Graham Trucking Cup.
Championship of the Graham Trucking Cup is brought to you by the Hyundai Sonata and is presented for Seafair by Graham Trucking, specializing in heavy intermodal container drayage throughout Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana.